Give me like a redraft of the quarterbacks. So let me give you an ESPN segment. I'll even make it rhyme.
Okay.
I can't make it rhyme.
If you don't want to answer, it can be Mina's Mimes.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that one though. They already do that one, don't they?
No, that's Mina's Dimes.
No, Mina's Dimes. Yes.
Kimes Dimes.
Kimes Dimes.
Right, Kimes Dimes.
Yes, I can see you watch too.
It's late.
Yeah, it is late. Because I was saying this, and how batshit crazy am I? I was like, hey, Justin Fields 5 years from now might be the guy in this class. I mean, like, I just feel like his ceiling's high, and
not crazy at all.
Yeah, he's got the worst situation, highest ceiling. Well, Trevor Lawrence would like a word, but I don't know. Like, if they get that hire right, do you like Justin Fields as good as anybody else? And do you think Trevor Lawrence can be saved?
God, the Lawrence stuff is so hard to. A huge part of me wants to put it all on the situation and the circumstance, but I actually do watch the Jaguars, and he really has struggled. You see the there are those glimpses where you see the dude at Clemson, and he makes these throws that are amazing and plays with his legs, but it's not just that the offensive line isn't great, but he's not solely struggling behind pressure or because his wide receivers aren't great or the scheme's not great. Like, he is making a lot of mistakes, and I really hope he can turn it around because I loved him so much in college. But at this point, it's really hard. There aren't that many examples or instances of players who have turned it around after having such a bad season.
That's
whereas
tough.
with Fields,
that's
really
true. I mean, that position, it is hard. Like, and I don't know what you're about to say, but like, Justin Fields has less bad muscle memory there. I'll just put it that way. Just like there is a part of players, like when they go to a bad team, like if you just deal with that shit all the time, like all year long, you get a bunch of reps and bad situations. It is hard to like wrap your head around improving. That is a tough situation for Trevor Lawrence. And for Justin, like, yeah, he's had reps, but it took a while, and they don't ask him to throw the ball 40 times a game. Like, that was the most asinine thing about that whole thing.
He's also put together some complete games now.
Yeah.
Fields has, like the Steelers game, unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
And the Vikings game, you've seen him get better over the course of the season. Yes, you'd like it to speed up a little bit, and he's still taking too many of those, super sacks, but the arm talent is so obvious, and it negates a lot of the negative plays that I feel like if I'm a coach, I see what he's put on tape this year, and I want to work with that.
Oh, yeah.
play.
So then that might answer the question. Do you want the Chicago job, Coach Kimes, or do you want the Jacksonville job?
I would probably go Chicago. I really like what their defense has done this year. I think they've got a great defensive coordinator in Sean Desai, who I think is going to stay there.
Yeah.
And they've had a lot of turnover, but getting a career year out of
our guy,
45-year-old Robert Quinn in his 36th season in the NFL.
It's
amazing. But to do that without Mac, to losing so many guys in the secondary, it's impressive. And
the
then
Minnesota game. They were like, it was like dudes off the street in the secondary.
Yes. I like people from the Rams practice squad. I was like, wait, really? Chris, you're like recognizing dudes, and rookies who had never played. It was impressive. And then I think offensively, like they just know what they have to do. There's like some very clear spots. So it's kind of a path towards, fixing this team. Whereas in Jacksonville, man,
you could be in London in 3 years.
Like, what's the core there,
Yeah.
Like, who are your core players?
Well, they missed out on building the junior contingency at wide receiver by not signing Odell. That would have been a good core, the junior core. Chenault,
LaVisca, DJ, and Marvin.
Yeah, there's a lot of juniors there. Okay, so if you're if that's what I know about the Jaguars, Lions. Like, if you're making that number one pick, if they are indeed sitting there with the number one pick, what do they need the most? Like, how do you fix something like that? It seems like they play hard for Dan. It seems like there's competency in that building. I love his staff. I really do. It feels like there's hope. Now they can't fuck it up. So, like, what are they doing? Yeah.
I think, well, you obviously need a quarterback. I don't think you're certainly not going to take one of the number one picks this year. And I don't think you take anyone because of Jared Goff's contract. Just skip another year. And then you can hit the Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, whatever. So, figure it out down the road. Like, the line is pretty good, pretty solid and in place.
Yeah.
So I think wide receiver or edge rusher in this coming draft are pretty important. Number one, I imagine they'll go pass rush. I haven't watched enough of the edge rushers to weigh in. Although, did you see Aiden Hutchinson, the Michigan kid? He's from Detroit, but he's a Patriots fan, which
he's a Pats fan.
Is the biggest red flag. Forget all the other stuff you hear about around the draft. That to me,
I got to tell you, I loved his vibe when we interviewed him, and he was super cool. And I think he's had a really great year. It's a small sample size of, high quality play. He's very long. He's powerful, but scheme is going to be a consideration. And I also think that Thibodeau, I need to watch more Oregon, but I don't know that there's a guy at 1 that I'm like, I have to have this guy at 1. I might trade back if I'm the Lions. I might trade back and accrue picks because it feels like the pressure of the situation is we got to have a guy here. And I don't know that there's a guy in this draft class that I'm just in love with. And I'd hate the headline, Detroit Lions devour local edge rusher. I hate that because that's what would happen. It's just a fucked up situation. You if you're going to take an edge rusher in the top 5, make sure he's special. It can't be a conversation because it is such a tough situation to throw that kid into. And I don't know. I'd go back if I'm the Lions. I'd trade back.
There's so many other needs. I mean, if you're able to get a wide receiver and an edge rusher in the first round, I feel like that would make a ton of sense.
Well, so that confirms it. Then Aiden Hutchinson probably doesn't want to play in Detroit as much as he says that. It's not even his favorite team. Nobody's if you don't have a Detroit Lions pendant in your fucking childhood bedroom, there's
he's 18. He's probably seen 50 Lions wins in his lifetime.
You're right.
Yeah, maybe he's smart.
Yeah, he might just be a smart kid.
High IQ.
What if they draft him because they're he interviewed really well. He hates the Lions.
Actually, now that I think about it, our kids his age, so 19, whatever. In the way that our generation kids were Cowboys fans because they were the coolest team. Are today's kids Patriots fans because they've only known Tom Brady?
I think there's some Pats fans. I also think there's probably some. I wonder if your Seahawks have some
yes, but younger, obviously, because Wilson era was 2012. But I have a lot of friends whose kids are Seahawks fans.
Yeah, because it's a cool team.
For that cool team, cool jerseys, Russell Wilson.
By the way, I think we're getting your guy Michael Bennett on next week. He called me last night. He told me, I told him it was snowing. He said, why don't you and Meg do some rich guy shit and leave? That was his advice. So we'll talk to Michael Bennett next week. We stayed put, unlike you. Went to a hotel. I stuck it out. No
you
power.
You had power. Yeah, you have a generator.
But no heat. Mm-hmm. So I have lights.
With space heaters. And
I got one space heater. One space heater. You went to a hotel. Chicago, Jacksonville, we talked about that. And lastly, Pittsburgh. We saw the graphic. We did this big Tomlin celebration thing. They've been competitive for 15 years. Obviously, he's done a great job there. There's a lot changing. Some people think it's time for a fresh start. And by some people, I mean some people on the internet. Are they just dead wrong? And what do they do at quarterback next year?
You mean a fresh start head coach?
Yeah, dude.
How many people on the internet actually think that?
There's
I'm going
to
challenge you. Is this a real thing?
How much you want to bet I can find 100 tweets calling for his firing?
I want to see the tweets.
Okay.
Just send me one. Just send me one, but from a real person.
Oh, well, you're doing real people. I said people on the internet. I say real people on the internet. But some people are frustrated with the way they played late in the season, especially defensively. Defensively, they've seemed soulless at times.
Yeah, the Minnesota game was brutal.
Mainly that one.
That one was
Some people lost the bet that week. So what do they do at quarterback? So obviously Mina doesn't think the coaching's the problem. What do they do at quarterback? Because they've really, they've dragged their feet on the bend thing for a couple of years. I feel like they've wasted a little bit of a window with the defense. It's at the very least been a little disappointing.
Yeah. By the way, I noticed you, speaking of people on Twitter, trying to draw people's attention to the fact that TJ Watt could potentially break the sack record when it felt like nobody was talking about that during the Ben game.
No one was watching. He was inches away from tying Strahan's record. Is it my pass rusher blind spot that I think that's important?
It is important. I want someone to break that record so badly, but Yeah, it is a clean break financially now because of the way, Ben restructuring his contract. They don't have a ton of cap space. And obviously this is not a year for the draft. Don't think there's going to be great options in free agency. I think for them, it's a question of, okay, if one of the elite quarterbacks is on the move, your Rodgerses, your Wilsons, or even like a Derek Carr is available for trade, which there's a lot of smoke around.
Huntley,
or Baker Mayfield.
Huntley.
Potentially. Huntley, yeah. Although that wouldn't, they can, I think, give him he's a restricted free agent, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, is that even a desirable destination? I think is an interesting question. Is Pittsburgh, because the offensive line is not as good as a lot of the other teams that need quarterbacks. Wide receivers are very inconsistent. I don't know, but I think they're going to make a play for one of those. And then I imagine they'll take a swing at one of the QBs. I should mention Winston's probably an option too, although
let me just plant my flag. I'm going to do it again. Liberties, Malik Willis. Somebody take a stab, man. Somebody take a stab. He's going to make somebody happy. And if he doesn't, no one's going to remember this. And if he does, I will post this social relentlessly. See, I could be on it. Get me a job, man. I could do this.
You're tapped into something, which is a really, really smart way to approach our industry, which is make predictions about good things that will happen, not bad things. Because if you are negative, fans will throw that in your face. If you're positive and you're wrong, nobody will remember unless you're right. And then you can bring it back up constantly.
Eagles win the Super Bowl.
What year?
This year.
Wow.
I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just fucking throwing it out there just in case it happens. It's like playing the lotto, man.
I'm trying to do like
she's doing the shock
for your video. Yeah.
Thank you. That was good. She's ready. She's sitting there like she's shocked. So we'll see you in February at that social.